A secret can shatter even the strongest walls of luxury, and sometimes the deepest wounds are not cut by poverty, but by betrayal. In the heart of wealth and glitter, one woman's broken heart proved that no mansion, no private jet, and no diamond could heal the pain of trust destroyed. This is the story of a man who had everything, except loyalty, and the woman who walked away, leaving behind nothing but a letter that burned him with regret for the rest of his life. Isabella had always believed her marriage to Alexander was built on more than money. She was a woman of grace, and though she had married into extraordinary wealth, she never cared for the jewels or the endless cars. What mattered most was the love she thought they shared, a love she believed would grow even stronger as she carried their child. The golden glow of pregnancy had filled her with dreams of a family, of a husband who would stand by her side, of late nights in the nursery where laughter and lullabies would erase all shadows of doubt. But life has a cruel way of showing truths when one least expects it, and the truth she uncovered destroyed the world she thought she lived in. It started with whispers, small things she brushed aside. Alexander coming home late, the faint perfume on his clothes that didn't belong to her, the guarded smile when his phone buzzed at midnight. Isabella had trusted him, telling herself her hormones were amplifying her fears, but deep down her heart was unsettled. She wanted to believe the man who kissed her forehead every morning still loved her with the same devotion, yet each day the warmth of his touch felt colder, rehearsed, like an act performed out of duty rather than passion. The breaking point came one rainy evening when Alexander was away on what he claimed was a business trip. Isabella's loneliness pushed her to his study, searching for comfort in his words. She wasn't prepared for what she found: a series of love letters written by another woman, tucked carelessly in the drawer. Each line was soaked with passion, with promises that once belonged to her. They spoke of stolen nights in luxury hotels, of a love he claimed was too powerful to deny. Isabella's trembling hands dropped the letter, her tears blurring the ink as her world collapsed around her. She clutched her belly, feeling the life growing inside her, and realized that the man she had married was living a double life. The shock turned to fury, then into a sorrow so deep it almost broke her spirit. She could confront him, scream, fight, beg, but she knew the truth. She knew she deserved more than being second choice in her own marriage. So instead of anger, she chose silence. Instead of tears, she chose words written on a single piece of paper that would haunt Alexander for eternity. That night she sat at her dressing table, the glow of the lamp illuminating her pale face. With each stroke of the pen, her heart poured onto the page. She didn't curse him, didn't spit venom. She simply wrote her truth, about her love, her disappointment, her pain, and her decision. She told him he had broken the sacred trust she had given him, that their child deserved better, and that she could no longer stay in a home built on lies. Her farewell was calm but powerful, ending with the words that would cut deeper than a blade. "You had everything, but you lost me?" When Alexander returned, expecting his wife's warm smile, he was met with silence. The mansion was still, unnaturally empty. On the bed lay her wedding ring and the letter. He read it once, then again, his heart racing as the reality crashed down on him. His throat tightened, his hands shook, and for the first time in years, the millionaire who thought he could control everything felt powerless. Isabella was gone, vanished without a trace. The days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Alexander searched everywhere. He used his wealth, hired detectives, even begged mutual friends. But Isabella had disappeared as if the earth had swallowed her whole. She didn't want his money, his apologies, or his explanations. She had chosen freedom over betrayal, dignity over riches. Each night Alexander would sit in the vast emptiness of his mansion, the silence mocking him. The echoes of Isabella's laughter once filled the halls, but now all he had were the haunting words of her letter. He missed her presence at the dinner table, the way she touched her belly and smiled with hope, the warmth she brought into his life. He realized too late that the affair, thrilling and intoxicating, was nothing compared to the love of a woman who had given him her everything. Time became his enemy. He grew older, lonelier, and more bitter. The mistress who once made him feel alive left him too, taking her share of money and fading into the world like a shadow. He was left with no one, only the reminder of the family he could have had, the child he would never hold, the wife he had betrayed. Regret consumed him, gnawed at his soul every single day. Isabella, on the other hand, rebuilt herself quietly in a new city. She raised her child with love, teaching them the value of honesty and strength. She never let the bitterness of betrayal define her. While she carried the scars of heartbreak, she also carried the courage of walking away, proving to herself and her child that a woman's worth is never tied to a man's mistakes. Alexander often wondered where she was, if their child looked like him, if they asked about the father they never knew. These thoughts tormented him in the dead of night, when the mansion's emptiness pressed down on him like a weight he couldn't escape. He had all the wealth a man could dream of, but none of it could buy back the family he had lost. His health began to decline, his once confident stride weakened by the years of loneliness and guilt. He would sit by the window, staring into the distance, clutching the letter she left behind like a relic of his downfall. The words etched in his memory echoed over and over. "You had everything, but you lost me." It was the cruelest truth of all. He had destroyed his own happiness. The world saw him as a successful millionaire, but behind the walls of his estate was a broken man whose soul was caged by regret. His downfall wasn't caused by financial ruin, but by his own betrayal. And as he took his final breaths years later, the letter laid beside him, a silent witness to a lifetime of mistakes he could never undo. Isabella, far away, lived a quiet but fulfilling life. She never told her child the full story, choosing instead to fill their heart with love rather than resentment. She had walked through fire and come out stronger, a woman who learned that self-respect was worth more than diamonds. The story of Isabella and Alexander is not one of wealth, but of values. Money may buy comfort, but it can never buy trust, loyalty, or love. Alexander's regret became his eternal punishment, while Isabella's strength became her redemption. It was the kind of ending that reminded the world of one timeless truth: betrayal may break a heart, but dignity can build a new life. So, if you've been touched by this story, remember, the choices we make can define the rest of our lives. Never take love for granted, and never betray the one who trusts you the most. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel for more stories like this one.